All right, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
For Zhang, call it one of the big boys. Call it one of the big boys to come and fight you in China. I don't know what the big stadium is in China, but I mean, look, I'm hearing that nearly 100 million Chinese watched that fight last night. If that's true, that's staggering. Let's have a big fight in China. Let's spread this sport. It's not just about America, UK, and the Middle East. We've seen big events recently in Australia with George Kambosos, Devin Haney. Let's spread it. Let's go to China. Let's do it.
In 2021, the population of China was 1,412,360,000.
100 million people in China viewed that fight yesterday. I'm surprised that Zhang hasn't had more fights in China with that kind of potential of an audience. But I think they was waiting for him to get his weight up. And Zhang, he's done his thing. He's done his thing. And it has to come time, because somebody in my comment section said that Joe was ahead on one of the scorecards. Corrupt. Horribly corrupt. Yeah, make the fight in China, man. Like, you know, don't trust anybody. And I'm saying that as a Brit. And I know Team Zhang, they didn't want Howard Foster officiating the bout after what he did to Michael Coffey against Fabio Wardley the other week.
Don't trust anyone.
Who's the last guy they tried to promote over there? It was Zhu Shiming. I like the way the names are interchangeable, because sometimes you say it's Shiming Zhu, Zhang Zhilei, or Zhilei Zhang. I think he was the last guy. And remember they had the 6'11" heavyweight Tashan Dong? What happened to him? He didn't have the skills that Zhang had, though, in hindsight. There's plenty of businessmen in China, and like very good businessmen, who can make a huge success, commodity, and event out of Zhilei Zhang. And his next fight should be in China. And the money they're going to be putting out, the champions like Usyk and Tyson Fury, who seem to be dissatisfied with what he was getting paid, go talk to the Chinese. AJ, Eddie, go talk to them. Wilder, Finkel, go talk to them. Now, Joyce versus Zhang was basically a non-title fight. No sanctioning belts on the line. Imagine if Zhang was fighting Usyk for the unified title, or Fury. Or even if AJ went over there, because he's a bigger draw than Joyce. That 100 million could double to 2, potentially. 3. So Joyce, his record goes to 15-1 with 14 inside the distance. That's a high knockout percentage. Now, a lot of people, you know, they're going to say, well, he doesn't hit as hard as a lot of people thought. Maybe the juggernaut reputation is over-exaggerated. The iron chin thing is over-exaggerated. Well, the truth is, often when there's exaggerations, there's a middle ground to debate. He does have a good chin, but if you keep rocking a good chin, eventually, you know, you will see spillage. He's not the first heavyweight who can absorb a decent shot. You know, people talk about chins, you know what I mean? Like, oh, AJ's got a glass chin. Who, the same guy who got up from that right cross from Klitschko? How much people you seen get off the floor from a Klitschko right cross and come back and win? You know, Fury, he's been put on the floor as a pro by the likes of Pychek, Steve Cunningham. Wilder put him on the canvas several times. When he's had to, he's took a good whack, but he can go down. These are the heavyweights. Like, Ali was floored by Sonny Banks, Henry Cooper. Sonny Liston had a great chin. He got knocked out by Leotis Martin. Ali knocked him out in a round, and they tried to say, oh, it was a phantom punch. No, it wasn't a phantom punch. He didn't see the punch coming. Joyce, in my opinion, was a real deal contender. I don't think the 14 people he's put away inside the distance is a myth. No, I don't. A lot of people pointed out that Zhang, from that southpaw stance, batted away his jab. The other southpaw he fought as a pro, Linroy Thomas, wasn't able to do things like that. Zhang also had a subtle shoulder roll on Joyce's backhand, which threw the trajectory off. You know, like a lot of people mentioned that Joyce looked like he didn't have no southpaw training. They would tell you that he came in too light. That affected his punch power and his ability to absorb shots, etc., or push Zhang back. That's got to be the worst explanation as a potential reason why the fight went down the toilet for Joe. He came in at 18 stone plus. It's not exactly fucking flyweight. That's a big heavyweight. In my opinion, the biggest factor that hurt Joyce was his predictable attacks. From Joyce's hands-up position, sometimes it looked like he's going to strike from the inside of the glove rather from the knuckle. Sometimes the punch action looks like he's actually batting than punching. By the time he turns over some of his shots, it looks like a shot that the elite fighters can read. But for the most part, he gets away with it. He's got away with it. Joyce will get hit with one shot, and the opponent in his next attack has got a good chance of hitting him with the same shot again. His adaptability was what got exposed, if anything, in this fight. Joe has attributes as well. I have seen Joe box at range a little. It's not graceful, but it has been effective. But at the same time, we've never seen him face a heavyweight around his height. He's got some pedigree, you know. Zhang wasn't no wallflower as an amateur. Them same attacks that Joe was launching and was unsuccessful with on Saturday mowed down his previous opponents, and he fought some decent fighters on the way up. He's been getting a lot of plaudits recently from the likes of Teddy Atlas. He's invincible, and a lot of people, Joyce will destroy this, destroy that. But they've never really considered, he's never fought a big banger. Carlos Takam is not a big banger. Christian Hammer is not a big banger. What are his other big wins? Bryant Jennings is not a big banger, although he did hurt Joyce to the body. He hasn't fought a big heavyweight with a big punch. Joseph Parker is a decent puncher. Some of the guys Joyce has faced are decent punchers, but they're no Klitschko's and they're no Povetkins. You know, I heard someone saying that if Joyce had the opportunities that Joshua had, like if he had Charles Martin to win the IBF belt from, he would have been a champion. Well, okay, you can't prove that. Well, okay, we'll give you Charles Martin, because even I would agree he's not a great heavyweight. But are we saying that he would have beat Dillian before as well? And after Charles Martin, he would have beat Klitschko as well and become unified? Now, you can take the Joseph Parker win, because he beat Joseph Parker like AJ beat him, so you can take that one. But to me, it's flawed logic to say that he would have beat Dillian, Klitschko, and while I would have him the favourite against Charles Martin, could he beat him as decisively and as quickly as AJ did? Has Joyce beat anyone as accomplished as Alexander Povetkin? He's never faced the Klitschko jab. It's one of the best heavyweight jabs, especially after he went to Manny Stewart. And if you know boxing, you should know that. I would say Zhang is the biggest puncher that Joe's faced. Joe got hit, and he started swelling up. What if Dillian was hitting him with them left hooks? Povetkin, Klitschko. It's easy to dismiss Anthony Joshua's resume, it really is. But he has fought punchers and boxers. Fury's fought punchers, dangerous punchers, and he's never lost to none of them. A lot of people think that Jared Anderson is just going to walk in and he's going to be up there with everybody, but he hasn't got hit with a world-class right hand. He hasn't dealt with a world-class jab yet from an 80-plus inch reach that's able to hit him consistently. He hasn't dealt with none of these things yet. He's nowhere near a complete body of work. And Joyce has fought more contenders and fringe contenders than Jared Anderson. Joyce, what happened tonight is he ran into a fighter where all them flaws I pointed out needed to be worked on. He was going to get through this and come out with the W. And this isn't the first time in his career. I always believed that Bryant Jennings won that fight with Joyce. And he read Joe's punches as well. He read them as well. He just didn't have the power that Zhang had, although he did hurt Joe to the body pretty bad. Someone like Zhang will block a lot of the shots on the glove, maybe take the odd one or two, but he's braced. He knows where it's going to hit, and you have to hit guys like Zhang with shots they're not expecting. You got to hide your punches, like Roy Jones. That's what Roy Jones was trying to teach Eubank in recent months, but not everybody is a Roy Jones. You got to hide the shots. Zhang is a good fighter, but speed is always going to trouble him, and Joe doesn't have that. He didn't have the speed to hide his shots. The setup on that right hand is too telegraphed, and the right hand is supposed to be the kryptonite requisite for the southpaw stance. But Joe, Joe needs to throw that from close up, and he needs to keep that right hand short, or it gets him in trouble against the elite, begging to get countered by the right opponent. And that was Zhang, and you got to give credit to Zhang for that. Not Joe was shit. I thought Eddie's assessment on Zhang was a bit harsh today. He said that Fury would smash Zhang, Wilder would smash Zhang, AJ would smash Zhang like he's 40 years old, and if Joyce can't beat him, he'll never be heavyweight champion. Well, the truth is, like, Zhang has some obligations with Queensbury, so he's not going to be messing with Macklin for a little while, so Eddie can say all that. And the truth is, Zhang might be aging, but he's also coming into his own. He's coming into a purple patch of form. Whether Eddie or anyone trying to say, oh, Joe is shit and it didn't matter who he thought this would have happened. No. Zhang Zhilei is finding his stride. There's so many variables what people overlook. Like, it could just be a bad style matchup for Joyce. And this generation here with fighters, the top fighters fighting once, twice a year, it's influenced us as boxing fans to judge one night's work and overanalyze the fighter based on one night's work. Whereas if the likes of a Joyce, an AJ, a Fury, a Wilder, a Zhang, a Hrgovic were fighting 3 to 4 times a year, let's say 4 times a year, we'd have more of an understanding on what their true strengths and weaknesses are. You know, I believe Joyce was a betting favourite with the UK bookmakers. I believe he was. But the way people are speaking, it's like, well, everybody knew this was going to happen. No, everybody didn't know this was going to happen.
I just want to say Frank Warren was telling a lot of after my fight with Zhang. On my worst night, I beat Zhang and he came to London and destroyed your fighter in 6th round. I destroyed Daniel Dubois in sparring and now his fighter got beat by the fighter who I beat. So what he want to say right now? I want to ask him one question. Why he producing only a hype jobs?
Hrgovic has been using Zhang's win over Joyce to boost his own stock, saying, well, look, I beat Zhang and Joyce couldn't beat Zhang. But a lot of people, including me, thought Zhang won the fight. And I would say Joe has had the better pro career over Hrgovic. Hrgovic can't live off Zhang's victories because he got a questionable W over him. No, he has to go out there and develop a solid body of work, a legit body of work, not spin and PR because Zhang looked good against Joyce. And that's the problem. A lot of these heavyweights do not have a body of work to look at. So they do what Hrgovic is doing. You know, somebody wins and then everybody's getting all excited. And then when they lose, all of a sudden they're the worst thing on earth. And we witnessed that this weekend with Joyce beforehand. Well, the juggernaut. Oh, he'd knock out AJ in a couple of rounds. I think he could beat Fury. He could do this. I reckon he could take Wilder's right hand. And now a lot of people are jumping on Zhang, saying, oh yeah, really good, really good. It was just a while ago when he drew with Jerry Forrest. And let's not forget, Zhang was only selected to fight that eliminator with Hrgovic after several opponents turned it down. He was way down the pecking order. No one was thinking of Zhang to fight no eliminator. But now, they're going to start talking about Zhang. Yeah, he can beat this guy, he can do this, he can do that. Until he loses or has an indifferent performance. Because they have short memories. What I'm getting at is too many people who follow boxing are reactionaries. Whether they're in the media, fans, or uploaders, content creators. You're all, not all, some of you are just way too reactionary. And you jump on the next headline. But if the fighters had actual bodies of work, we wouldn't need to be doing that. So what can you throw in your hypothetical box rec? Some eye test crap. Sparring stories. I was injured, I was sick when I took a fight that I either lost or didn't perform well in. Well, you see what Zhang did to Joyce. Imagine what I would have did. I'm the boogeyman. They're all ducking me. They don't want no smoke. The inactivity robbed me of my superpowers. Inactivity? You're all inactive. You're all starting from the same place. Now, Joyce deserves a chance to redeem his name and come back. And don't get me wrong, he has to take his criticism in the public glare. The lights are shining on him right now. But Joyce, in my opinion, cannot be judged of one night. Now, if you want my opinion, the beating he took was a deconstruction. These type of beatings are different from getting knocked out by either one punch or a combination. He's 37 and got banged up pretty nasty around the eye. The nose looked pretty bad too. They said the eye's okay. And whoever is in charge of picking Joyce's opponents, whether that's Frank Warren, whoever he's got there now, you know, he used to have Ernie Fossey back in the day, who was somewhat of a renaissance man, just like Dean Powell was later. He later became the matchmaker for Frank Warren fighters. if they still value Joe as a commodity, things are going to have to change. Things are going to have to change. He's 37 years of age. And if they do value him as a commodity, well, more than likely, they're going to start protecting him like Daniel. Like, what? No title, belt on the line, and you're fighting someone like Zhang, high knockout percentage. Look how good he looked against Segovich. Arguably, he won that fight. Oh, you won't be seeing them fights no more. And Joe won't be as popular. A lot of people will be saying, he's shook, Frank Warren's shook. Look at the opponents he's fighting now. Because they know that he's damaged goods. His stock will deflate. That's if Joe allows that, or if Joe wants that. But he did sign a long extension with Frank Warren. I don't know how long it has left. And if you ask me, to me, Frank's kind of played Joe already. And he better watch Frank in case Frank sees an opportunity where he could perhaps cash Joe out. You know, they're crunching big numbers over the Middle East. Daniel ain't getting no shot at Usyk for now. And Frank knows that. But don't be shocked. Around that time there, December or New Year. We're going to do Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce 2. It's a huge fight. And this time, you know what they're going to be expecting. Yeah? Watch out, Joe. But like I said, that all depends if Queensbury and BT still see Joe as a commodity. A lucrative commodity. And, you know, Joe can only be the best version of himself. And his comeback, it's a tricky balancing act for boxers. His comeback is tricky because he doesn't want the experience of getting beaten like that for the first time as a pro to change him and that he becomes overcautious. But at the same time, if he doesn't change a lot of stuff, there's more to come of what Zhang handed out on Saturday. There's more to come.
You said to me a kind of a twist on an old boxing phrase. You said to me, everyone has a plan until they punch me in the face and nothing happens. Do you think you break your opponent's heart in there?
Yeah, I throw lots of shots. They hit me. They've been planning a certain shot. They hit me with it. Nothing happens, and I'm like, now what do we do?
Now, he didn't get chinned by that little mantra he was running. That catchphrase, aged like milk. See, all that stuff, it sounds good when you're winning. But the moment you take a L like Joe took a L, it's like what Andre Ward said to Carl Froch.
We'll have a little bet if you want.
About 8 cameras got
There's
it.
absolutely no way you can knock me out.
What do you think of this guy's chin? I mean, he took some blows that really would have knocked down walls.
In the school of boxing that I come from, that's frowned upon, giving up free shots.
You know, I think the whole notion that he can take it lightly, this gimmick, that he can give up free shots and he's different to other heavyweights because of that. I think it's dangerous ground if something doesn't change on that front. That's just my opinion. You know, let's say he did have the best chin ever in the heavyweight division. It doesn't mean that your face can't get swole up, eyes get closed shut, nose get busted up and get stopped that way. And you could be standing on your feet in the ring by yourself after everyone's gone home. You've still lost and you're taking a lot of punishment.
You know what? Probably swerve it. There's probably no need for it, you know. In fact, there's probably no need for this one, was there? You know, in hindsight, who's directing Joe? Who's advising Joe? If someone didn't do the homework properly, someone's getting fired in the morning.
That was Fraser Clark, and what he said kind of sums up the seesaw nature of the media and boxing fan. Pre-fight, we were saying you got to give credit to Joyce for taking the fight. Post-fight, we're saying, it was a stupid move. We've got to look at modern-day boxing and be truthful with ourselves. Shouldn't have took the fight. Who's picking the opponents? Someone's getting fired. Modern-day boxing, when a high-profile name like Joyce takes a loss, normally it ends up with some kind of upheaval, either in the promotional stakes, network stakes.
The reason for that is I blame him.
Who's to blame? Normally in these situations, high-profile heavyweight like Joyce, high-profile boxer, someone has to go. Is it Salas? Pre-fight, people have been singing Salas's praises. Look at the great job that he's done with Joe. And now, there could be some eyeballs looking at that. Someone, for a little critique, I can't remember, I haven't got the receipt. They said when Joe was drowning in there, Salas was telling Joe, do the juggernaut, do the juggernaut. Well, that may have worked previously, you know. All this Cuban boxing school.
I'm the juggernaut!
That all you got?
Is that all you got?
Because he tried that. Let me just throw more punches than Zhang and see if he can overwhelm Zhang like he's did the majority of his opponents. But he needed way more variety than that on the night. What about Frank Warren? Joe called for that Tyson Fury fight, and it ended up Derek Chisora got it before Joe. Some people who like covering for Tyson Fury will tell you that Joe had a hand injury. Joe called for the fight and he was serious. Surely he knows the state of his hand more than you do. He said he was fit and ready to go. Now, maybe it ain't Frank's fault. That's just how the mandatories came out. Daniel first, Hrgovic second, Joe third. Maybe so, but still a lousy job by Frank. Can't get the Fury fight and the guy you beat is in the line before you. What about the rematch? Frank Warren has options on Zhang. Eddie Hearn said if Joyce doesn't take the immediate rematch, what's he going to do? Going to come back and fight some nondescript 10-rounder at 37 years of age? Never had a title shot. Eddie said, if you don't beat Zhang, you can't win a world title. You know, we know why Eddie's doing it. Joyce had a lot to say about Joshua in the build-up to the fight. But in defense of what Eddie's saying, it is a must-win fight, isn't it? But as I said before, it looked like one of them beatings to me that walking straight back into it doesn't work out well for Joyce. You know, you fought a 39-year-old guy. He's a competent boxer, but he didn't do anything high-tech out of this world. Joyce was outboxed from the first to last bell. Even if Joe wins, if he doesn't knock Zhang out early, it looks like another life and death fight for Joe. Not an ideal comeback. He didn't trouble Zhang with one punch throughout that fight. No, I don't think he beats Zhang in the next fight. What's his other option? He's 37 years of age. All this start is apprenticeship again. No, too late. It took him how long? 6-7 years as a pro just to be in the copper box in Britain? And now you want him to go back to the York Hall and start? No. And Joe won't want that either. If anybody is out there writing off Joe Joyce, and I don't know if they are writing him off like that. I haven't really surfed enough stories to find out. But I would imagine a lot of people are writing him off now. I won't do that. Olympic silver medalist, arguably should have took gold, was an important fixture on the WSB. Worked his way up to number one in the WBO and a mandatory position. He's got nothing to be ashamed about. Let's see Joyce complete his body of work. And then that will be the ultimate time to assess who he is as a heavyweight. I know it's split between AJ and Joyce with the fans, you know, rejoicing that Joyce, pardon the pun, lost last weekend. But I would like to see Joyce at Matchroom. I'd like to see him get a shot anywhere. If it's the PBC, top rank where he could get some good fights. If he's done with Frank, yeah, I'd love to see him there. And it's not all about if Joyce can become Joe Louis Mark II. It's entertainment as well. We want to see him in some good fights. Win, lose or draw.
This is Tony Thompson, chilling with Boxing Beats and Rhymes.
Ain't going to be chilling with Boxing Beats and Rhymes. This is that Mayor Hardcore Mentor on Boxing Beats and Rhymes YouTube channel. Tune in because this is the place to be, man, all the time.
I am ranked number one. That means I'm the best.